Welcome to the Secrets of Confident Women podcast, where you'll learn all the best tips, tricks, and practical techniques for building the confidence levels you've always wanted. With inspiring interviews, real-life examples, and game-changing insights, this podcast is for women who know that mastering the skill of confidence is one of the most important things they'll ever do.
Hi and welcome to today's podcast, where we'll be discussing a topic that comes up for all women all the time. This issue can show up in so many different areas and have a really negative impact on how we interact with others. So today we'll be talking about how to powerfully and confidently say no. And I know there are so many listeners who will be keen as mustard to get a handle on this one. And I'm thrilled to have Anastasia with me too today. So we'll both be chatting about the importance of learning to say no. Hi, Anastasia. Welcome and home. So glad to have you here today.
Hi everyone. Hi Jody. I'm so happy to be back because you know how much I love this topic, right?
Yeah.
This was actually life-changing for me, and it all came from one very simple little sentence that we'll talk about a little later on.
Okay, great. So let's get into today's topic and how to confidently and powerfully say no. Look, it happens all the time, right? We often agree to stuff, but we know our heart's just not in it. We really don't want to do something, but we reluctantly agree because we're either too embarrassed or too scared, or we just don't know how to powerfully and confidently say no. And I often speak with people and have clients who are really aware of this. They recognize that they have trouble saying no, and they realize that it's their lack of confidence that's in the way. They want to be able to say no more often and mean it, but they just haven't figured out how to do that yet, which is really sad because it's amazing how easy it is for us to say yes.
I know, right? I mean, no one ever questions it when you say yes.
No.
There's never any need to justify your answer when you say yes, because people are happy to take yes as your response, and they really don't care why you said yes.
No.
All they care about is that you've agreed to what they've asked.
Oh, I know, right? And this is something that we all have to deal with a lot. Look, we've all had times in our lives when we've had to set new boundaries and establish new priorities. It's a skill that we need to manage, and it's something that I became especially aware of after I had kids. I mean, all of a sudden, my time was so much more precious, so I had to become more intentional about how I was spending it and what I was saying yes and no to.
Yeah, look, I find that I do this all the time as well. I say yes repeatedly because I don't want to let anyone down and because I think I can handle it. And then I get to a point of overwhelm, and it's only then that I realize that most of the stuff that I said yes to, I really shouldn't have. And that's where regret and disappointment kicks in. And it's that, it's always at that point where I realize that I've just spent so much time, and time that I actually didn't have, doing stuff that I really didn't want to do. And then I need to just reel it back in so I can focus more on the stuff that I do want to do.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely. And I often talk to my clients about treating their time and energy as though it's money.
Yeah.
So, for example, if a friend walked up to you and asked for $1, you probably wouldn't worry so much, right? And just hand it over. It's not that big a deal for you to lose $1 after all, right? But what if they want $100 or $1,000? Would you be okay to say no to someone wanting this much money from you? Or would you just say yes because you've been put on the spot, or maybe you're too embarrassed, or you don't want to hurt their feelings? You see, the higher the cost, the more that you have to lose. So you're more likely to question whether this is something you actually want to say yes to. So if that same friend asked you for $10,000, a no would come a lot easier than the $1 or the $10 that they asked you for beforehand. Because now you have a lot more to lose, and maybe you're even wondering whether you're being taken advantage of.
Yep, I know. That's exactly how I feel sometimes. I say yes to so many little things, so many, metaphorical requests for $1.
Yeah.
But they actually add up, don't they?
They
I mean,
do.
really, if one person asks you for $1, it's no big deal. But what if 1,000 people ask you for $1?
Right.
And it's not just about
Which
my
is
time.
how it feels sometimes.
Yeah.
Some weeks.
It's lots of little things that all add up. And it's not just time, it's focus and it's energy as well. It can get so exhausting and overwhelming sometimes to focus on just a whole bunch of different little things, because it will take your time and your energy away from what you really want to focus on.
Yeah, exactly, which is why we should probably think about it in this way. What we should consider is that our life, our time, our energy, and our focus all have value, probably more than anything else, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to be able to say no confidently, you actually need to start thinking about your time, your energy, and your focus as though it's actually money. I mean, the truth is, as we know, people will keep asking, especially if you keep giving. Yep. So it's really valuable to work out what 1 minute of your time is worth for you. Are you happy to give that away to someone or to something that you don't really want to do? Okay, maybe if it's 1 minute of your time, then whatever, it's not going to be that valuable to you. But what if they asked for an hour or a day or 3 days or, even a week?
Sometimes people ask you for a lifetime.
Oh, they ask you for yes, well, that's a whole other podcast, Anastasia, right? But when you learn to treat your time and energy like money, you will find it easier to say no confidently when others ask you to give more than you really want to. So let me put some questions out there and see if anyone can relate. How good are you at saying no, and can you do it without feeling guilty? Can you say it to some people more confidently than you can to others? Or do you find it tough to say to anyone? And do you get annoyed with yourself like me after you've said yes when really you wanted to say no? Well, I think we've all had times that we've experienced all of the above, so don't beat yourself up. Saying no is something we need to learn to do. It's actually a skill that we need to practice, just like confidence, for when we're put on the spot. And it's something we all need to be prepared for.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Jody, do you remember when Oprah came to Sydney a few years ago and we saw her live?
It was great, yes.
One of the most impactful things that she said, and it's stayed with me ever since, and I say this to people all the time, was when she said no is a complete sentence.
Yeah.
It actually made me realize that confident women know that they don't have to justify their decisions to anyone. Yeah. I mean, isn't it funny how when you say yes to something, no one ever asks you to validate your reasoning, but when you say no, it's often followed by a why not? Even if they don't actually say it, sometimes a look is enough.
No, I know.
Right?
I know that look.
Yeah, or we even do it to ourselves. We ask that question of ourselves and we feel the need to justify it to others before they have a chance to ask us why not. And this is something I've had to manage so many times in my life. Anyone who knows me knows that I will pretty much say yes to everything.
Yeah.
I'll help anyone that needs help. I'll say yes to every social event. I'll say yes to anything that's asked of me at work. And I really do have a lot of trouble saying no. And even though I should know better by now, I still do it because I'm aware of it and I know when it's happening, I'm actually better prepared to deal with it.
Yeah.
So there are some things that I will always say yes to, right? Like family and friends will very rarely get a no from me, and I actually am always up for a party. But I have gotten better at saying no to people and things that are just not high on my priority list. So I can now easily say no to a cold caller, or a door-to-door salesperson, or even a shop assistant, or, one of those annoying people in the corridors at shopping centres.
Yes.
Who was trying to sell you something or sign you up to something.
Isn't it? It's always there when you're just like racing.
In a rush.
Like you're just on a beeline to get in and get out, and you get caught up. Yeah.
And then you say to them, I can't, I'm in a hurry. And you feel guilty about saying it, even though you are in a hurry.
Yes.
Right? But the best bit is I figured out how to do this and I say it without the guilt, or really without even giving it a second thought. Because I've decided that my time and my energy at that point are better spent doing something else. They're better spent elsewhere. So I treat them with the value and the respect that they deserve, and I actually guard them selfishly.
Yeah.
I mean, anything that I agree to will only impact me, right? And it's the same for you, and it's the same for everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
When we make a choice not to do something for whatever reason, you need to be confident in the knowledge that you've made the right decision for you because you actually chose it.
Yeah, I know. You're totally right. I find this all the time with door-to-door salespeople, but now I tell you, I am a master at dealing with them. And the change for me was ensuring that I was very clear in my communication with them. So when someone comes to my house and I'm not interested, which I'm never really interested in anyone that's coming to my door, I say, thank you, but no. Or, thanks, but I'm not interested. And you know what? If they continue, which they often do, I then say, almost interrupt them. Look, I'm sorry, but I have been very clear in my communication to you. I'm not interested, thank you. And I say it nicely and politely, but also quite firmly, because I want them to be clear about the fact that I am not interested. Yep. And I teach my clients this exact wording all the time because it's clear and there can be no misunderstanding. So when people tell me that they've struggled to say no to something, the first thing I ask them is, well, how clear were you with the communication? Like, did you actually say the word no? Or did you say some version of what you think sounds like a no, but it's not really a no? Something like maybe, or I'll think about it, or the good old I'll ask my husband. Maybe you said, thanks, but not today, or I'm really busy right now. Can we do this another time? And then they wonder why the person continues the conversation or the sales pitch. And they start to get frustrated, feeling like they're being put under pressure or something, when really they haven't actually said the word no. I mean, they meant no, they hoped the person would hear no, but they actually never said the word no.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I know.
It's really weird. And we do the same thing with shop assistants. We do it all the time. I know I do it all the time. Like we literally walk into their store and they just start doing what they're paid to do. And for some strange reason, most women usually struggle with being totally honest and clear with the sales assistant. I'm not sure why we do this.
Yeah.
But if you're really just looking, just tell them. Just say, look, I'm only looking, but if I need anything, I will come to you. Or if you do want their help, be honest about that too. Either way, you can't go wrong. You just need to be really clear in the way you communicate with them.
Oh my God, this is so funny. It happened to me like literally the other day, and I was actually a bit shocked at myself that I fell into the trap of not being confident in saying what I wanted to say, which I guess just goes to prove that even when you know this stuff, it can still happen. So I went into Maya to look for a laptop satchel and ended up in the dress section, as you do, because the sales were on. And I spotted this red dress, which, to me, is like a moth to a flame. Anything red that stands out to me anywhere is like a beacon, right? I can spot it from a mile away. Anyway, so I saw this red dress and picked it up to try it on. And the sales lady came over and she was lovely. And then she showed me this other blue dress, which I thought, well, I may as well try on as well. I'm headed to the change room. So I went into the change room. I tried them on. I loved the red dress, but I wasn't 100% sure of the blue dress. And my rule with clothes is if I don't love it, then I leave it. But the sales lady was standing there. She kept telling me how nice it looked, and she just kept hanging around. And it was true. Like, the blue dress was nice, but just not 100% my style. And I should have said, thanks, but it's not my style. And instead I said, thanks, I'll take them both. So I don't know. I was sort of like embarrassed or something.
You didn't want to offend her.
I don't know, but I didn't ask for the space to just be left alone in the change room to work through my own thought process. Because then I would have got to, the blue dress is not really my style. I don't want the blue dress. Yeah. But instead I left the store $500 lighter and had two dresses, which one of which I wasn't convinced about. And then I got home, as you do, tried them on, did not cut those tags off because I wanted to be sure.
You could see it coming.
I could see it coming. Realised I didn't want the blue dress and then had to arrange another trip back to the store to get a refund. I mean, what a waste of time and energy simply because I couldn't be clear in my communication to the sales lady. And look, your life is a result of all your choices, just as mine is a consequence of all of mine. I decide what I want to do and when and how I'm going to do it. But all too often we see women making decisions based on what other people want or what other people think or say. But that's what they want, not what you want, which means you'll get their outcomes, not your outcomes. Buying the blue dress was really her outcome. She thought it looked nice, but I knew it wasn't something that I would wear. And because I didn't say what needed to be said, I ended up with her outcome and not mine.
Well, her outcome was the sale, right?
Her outcome
That's what she wanted.
Well, she thought I looked nice, which dull I did.
But she had different drivers, right? So people will always try to influence your decisions based on what matters to them.
Yeah, but I did look, the dress was nice. It was nice.
But it wasn't for you.
It wasn't for me, though. It was not for me. And that's where I needed to take 100% responsibility for my life, but what choosing works for me. And you need to take 100% responsibility for your life and choose what works for you. And only you know when something is not good for you. So learning how to powerfully and confidently say no is such a crucial skill to have. And, sometimes even when you have this skill, it can still trip you up, like me and the blue dress. But you can always go back and correct the mistake and get back on track. So say no when you want to and accept that you don't have to explain yourself to anyone, just like they don't have to explain themselves to you. It's so important to always be really powerful in your self-expression and not be afraid that you'll come across as being rude or pushy or uncompromising, because the outcomes of these decisions affect your life.
Yep, they really do. And you know what? The more you do it, the more people will come to realize that you actually mean what you say,
for sure.
which is great.
Yeah.
Because the more you say yes, you say yes. When you say yes, you actually mean yes. And when you say no, they'll know that you actually mean no.
Yeah.
And there'll be no confusion, which will eliminate, all those times in your life when you've said yes and then you instantly get that sick feeling in the pit of your stomach because you really wanted to say no.
Yes, that's what
and the thought was in your head.
Yeah, that's what I had carrying my blue dress out of the store, right?
Your head, your brain is saying to you, say no, say no, say no. And then your mouth opens and you go, yes.
Yes.
And there's a really easy way to do this. That's it's so effective, but it's so simple, which is thank you, but no. That's it. Just say the actual words. Thank you, but no.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, this is a really, really great way to clearly and definitively say no without actually having to explain why. And look, sometimes it doesn't have to be with your words. Sometimes you can let your actions do the talking for you. Like, when you sign up for a free ebook or a masterclass or a webinar or something, and then you get what you want, but then you also get increasingly annoyed because, they just keep emailing you.
Yes.
Well, guess what? Congratulations, you've just joined their sales funnel.
Yes.
And they're doing exactly what sales funnels do. They're just trying to get you to buy something.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is actually think of those emails a bit like a virtual sales assistant. Now, if you're interested in what they're selling and you want to know more and you want to kind of hang around in case something else pops up, then just stay on their mailing list. But if you're not interested anymore and you want out, then you need to clearly and definitively say no more. And in this instance, the best thing to do is just to unsubscribe.
Yeah.
I mean, I do this all the time.
Oh my God, I do too.
Don't we?
Yeah.
I download what I need and then I unsubscribe because I don't want anything else from them at that point. And that's okay.
It starts off something and then it goes to someplace
on a tangent.
else.
Yeah.
And I think, how did I end up here? What is this anyway?
It's like a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And then we feel bad. We go, I don't want them to know that I've unsubscribed because I bought something from them and I feel guilty. But there's no need to feel bad about it,
I don't
honestly.
feel bad anymore.
Well, I used to, but now, especially if you're buying from like a friend's business.
Oh, well, that's,
and you
yes.
really
that does.
So sometimes you just go, well, I want to support my friend, so I'll stay on.
Yeah, fair enough.
But look, all businesses know this. Trust us.
Yeah.
They know this. They expect people to unsubscribe, and it's not a bad thing.
No.
It basically means that the list is being culled and it's, people that are seriously interested in what you have to sell. And that's fine. And there's no need for you to just keep feeling overwhelmed and weighed down with hundreds of emails about stuff that you're just not interested in anymore.
Yeah.
So just feel free to unsubscribe whenever you need to and do it without guilt.
Oh, I know. We just need to give ourselves permission to say no
exactly.
without feeling bad about it. And look, as women, we all associate so much guilt with saying no. We don't ever want to say no to others, and we don't want to make it look like we seem somehow ever like even prioritizing ourselves, which is bloody ridiculous, by the way. I mean, why do we feel guilty about looking out for ourselves? It's just so okay to look out for others and our kids and our partners and our friends or our colleagues. But when it comes to looking out for ourselves, we often feel guilty or sometimes even unworthy. And then we become people pleasers, which is so terrible because We insist on valuing others more than we value ourselves. And there needs to be a balance, right? It's something that we constantly need to be reassessing all the time.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was referring to before. I mean, sometimes I'm happy to say yes to lots of things. And there are times where I can manage that. You know, it works for me. But other times it doesn't work for me. And I need to try to find a balance. And I think we all do. I mean, it's okay to say yes when you want to and when you can. But by the same logic, it's also okay to say no when you can't and not feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
Because that means that you're prioritizing your time and you're trying to create a balance for yourself that allows you to actually get everything done without feeling overwhelmed or feeling guilty about having to do other people's things.
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, it's really up to us to change this and become more selective about what we spend our time and energy on.
Yeah.
Again, it's just, my favorite saying. It's about teaching people how to treat you and your time. And I mean, like, I find this working and running a business from a home office. Yeah. It's so easy to say yes to people dropping by for a coffee or calling for a quick chat, even though I know I've got a ton of things of work on, because sometimes I feel bad saying no. But, by repeatedly saying yes to these types of situations, we're teaching other people that we're okay with this. You know what, which is fine if you are, but then you can't get annoyed when you keep getting interrupted during your workday, because it's up to you to prioritize your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so this has been a great chat, and I think it's one that as women we need to have more often. I mean, it's really okay to say no. It will increase your confidence the more you say it, because you'll finally be proving to yourself that your time matters. Your energy matters, your focus, they all matter. And once you show the world you believe that, then they'll have no choice but to believe it as well. So I think that's a wrap for today, Anastasia. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I love this topic. You know how much I love this topic, and I'm so happy that we got to chat about it today.
Yeah.
Because I truly believe that learning and practicing this really, really simple technique can have an impact on everybody's life.
And it is so important to recognize that it is practice. You got, I've practiced this. You've practiced this. Really practice those words, thanks but no. Practice them so they roll off the tongue
because it's awkward.
Yes,
when you first do it, it will be awkward
yeah.
And it will be uncomfortable, which is fine, because you know what that means. It means you're right on the edge of your comfort zone, right? When something's awkward, and you're feeling a bit odd about it, it just means that you're trying something new.
Well, especially if it is new, because you've been saying yes all the time, and all of a sudden you need to start changing that priorities and changing that habit. But it might take a bit for people to get used to the no, because you've been constantly saying the yes, and they're expecting the yes without question.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you start giving them a no. But it is that practice to start reinforcing that.
Yeah, and it's practice for you saying no, and then you're getting them to practice hearing no, right? Because they haven't heard it from you.
Oh, goodness, yes. Well, this is one of my favourites as well. And remember, if you'd like more information on building your confidence, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. Come and join us here every week. Or you can head over to risewomen.com for more resources. And till next time, remember, with confidence, anything is possible. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.